Clay soil is, honestly, one of the hardest challenges a gardener faces. It's dense, sticky when wet, and rock hard when dry, making it nearly impossible for roots, water and air to move freely. Many gardeners, quit after endless digging, tilling and adding amendments that barely make a dent. But there's a surprisingly simple, low-effort trick that invites the very organisms nature uses to repair soil: fungi. And it starts with something almost everyone throws away: cardboard. By using cardboard in the right way, you can create fungal pathways that break up clay, enrich humus, and turn dead, compacted soil into living ground faster than conventional composting ever could. Why fungi are the missing key in clay soil? Most gardeners think worms or compost alone will save their soil, but fungi are the real pioneers. These underground networks produce enzymes that dissolve minerals locked in clay and create tunnels that loosen compacted particles. Their hyphae act like living roots, weaving through tight soil and leaving behind organic channels that help water drain and oxygen enter. Without fungi, clay remains a suffocating mass. With them, it becomes structured soil capable of supporting healthy plants. The trick is finding a way to attract them quickly, and that's where cardboard comes in. You see, cardboard becomes a bit of a fungal magnet. It's made from cellulose, which is the same woody fibre that fungi naturally feed on in forests. When you lay it into moist soil, it turns into a right buffet for saprotrophic fungi, those white, thread-like decomposers that break down tough plant matter. Unlike compost piles that can take months to mature, fungi colonize wet cardboard within just a few weeks, sending out visible white mycelium strands. And these strands don't just stay on the cardboard. They spread into the surrounding clay, softening it from within. This lazy trick works because it mimics what happens when logs or fallen leaves decay in woodlands, but in a form you can actually control and direct right in your own garden. Right. So the simple method for building fungal tunnels in clay starts with using cardboard properly. You don't just toss it on top of the soil. No, that won't do. You want to place it where fungi can use it as a bridge between the organic matter and the clay. Start by digging a shallow trench, about a spade's depth, so that's anywhere from 6 to 8 inches deep. Then lay down flattened sheets of plain cardboard. Make sure you avoid any glossy or coloured print, yeah? Wet the cardboard thoroughly so it becomes good and soft, nice and pliable. Next, add a thin layer of nitrogen-rich scraps like grass clippings, coffee grounds, or chopped vegetable waste directly on top. Finally, cover the trench back over with the clay soil. What happens next is a bit of a chain reaction, really. The nitrogen source fuels bacterial growth, which in turn warms and softens the cardboard. That softened cellulose draws in fungi almost immediately. Within weeks, you'll see signs of white fungal threads if you dig slightly to check. By the following season, those fungal tunnels will have spread through the surrounding clay, leaving it looser and much easier to plant into. Now let's talk about ratios and timing for the best results. Getting the balance right, well, it really does speed the process along. A good rule of thumb is to use 1 layer of cardboard for every 2 shovels of clay you put back on top. If you add too much cardboard, the fungi will just take longer to process it, and you'll get a bit of temporary nitrogen tie-up. So, pairing the cardboard with an equal layer of nitrogen materials prevents this issue. For example, if you're burying a 3-foot section of cardboard trench, just mix in about 1 bucket of grass clippings or kitchen scraps over it before backfilling with soil. Moisture is also crucial, you know. Fungi simply cannot colonize dry cardboard, so water the trench deeply when you set it up, and if you're in a dry season, just water the area once a week until the rain takes over. Now here's how this trick feeds your soil beyond the first season. The beauty of this lazy trick is that the cardboard doesn't just vanish, As it decays, it leaves behind humus, a dark, crumbly layer that enriches your soil for the long term. The fungi that colonize it will keep spreading, forming networks that connect plant roots with nutrients and moisture. Worms are also drawn to the softened tunnels following the fungi's lead. Over time, your trench becomes a living vein of activity in what was once lifeless clay. With repeated use of this method across beds or pathways, clay transforms into soil that holds water without drowning roots, drains without compacting, and stays fertile for years. Why this works better than endless compost piles? Traditional composting has its place, but for gardeners battling clay, hauling and spreading wheelbarrows of compost only treats the surface. Fungi work below the surface, where clay needs the most change. By planting cardboard tunnels directly into the soil, you set up underground composting in place, driven by the microbes and fungi already present. It's low effort, doesn't require turning or monitoring piles, and it creates lasting structural change instead of just a temporary nutrient boost. Clay soil doesn't need to break your back or steal your harvests. With something as simple as soaked cardboard and a handful of nitrogen scraps, you can summon fungi into the toughest ground and let them do the work nature designed them to do. This is soil repair at its laziest and most effective, a method that builds humus, attracts worms and softens clay faster than any shovel ever could. If this guide gave you a new way to think about soil repair, make sure to subscribe to Hydrohaven and share this video with other gardeners. The more people learn these hidden tricks, the more living soil we can create, one cardboard tunnel at a time.